This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting morning, and we're going to hopefully build on what we had last night. Now there's a small group of buffalo just ahead and one of them is bleeding, so it definitely looked like the lions might have tried something yesterday. My name is Chris and with me today on CamOps is Craig, and Jonty will also be out there hopefully helping us to find those lions again. We'll reposition in a moment. While we do that, remember you can send your questions and comments to #WildEarth on Twitter. You can see the buffalo there. @FC if you're on YouTube. And then kids, please send us your questions and comments to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Alternatively, you can head to the WildEarth website and register for the live safari page and leave your questions and comments there. Yeah, as I said, it's myself and Jonty out on Djuma, and then Steve, there's Steve man, got Steve in my mind. JP will join us on the Bushwalk a little later from Pridelands. And it looks to be a nice and cool day for now. It's overcast, slight breeze. I think it's excellent conditions for game viewing today. Rough plan today, we're going to stick with this buffalo a little bit. They are on the move and one of them is missing its tail. It looks like the one that we've seen a couple of days ago, although the wound looks rather fresh, so maybe the lions tried to take him down without success yesterday. And now Jonty's going to go back to where he's seen the lions yesterday and backtrack from there. Luckily it's a relatively open area, so we don't have to do much bundu bashing. You can see them up there. So what likely happened there is that with the confusion the lions created during the night, and during that confusion a small group obviously got separated. Whether they'll rejoin the herd, difficult to say. Remember that they might join another herd even. That herd is not a strong cohesive unit. It's a very loosely connected arrangement of small family groups. But if the lions can find them, that is the perfect sort of profile there to try and attack. There's not a lot of adults in this group. They're separated from the main group. There's already an injured bull. So if I was lions, I would be trailing them. Yeah, and then this weather's also very good for cats in general. So hopefully we'll be able to find another leopard again. You never know. We'll catch up with them in a moment, these buffs. They are moving quite fast. They look very nervous. Well, while I'm trying to relocate them, let's take a look at what the weather is like elsewhere in our other locations.
Morning everybody, welcome. My name's John T. We've got Davy on the camera. That sounds so good. So last night, if you saw the end of the show, we saw the Talamati Pride and then that herd of buffalo that was drinking. So I went out after dinner because I was convinced there was going to be some action. And I did find the lions and buffalo interacting and chasing each other, but they didn't actually catch one. And so now we've come back to where I last saw them, and we're trying to sort of pick up that story to see what's happened. So I wonder, that bull that Chris is with, that's really interesting that it's been injured. I wonder if it's a fresh injury. What was incredible about last night is that there was this huge melee between the buffalo and the lions, and then the lions had a bit of a rest and a lie down, and the buffalo just went quiet. And when we drove back in, when the lions got up and went back towards the buffalo, they had vanished. They had pulled some sort of sneaky trick, but the lions were still sort of, it seemed to be following what I could see in the dark, the tracks of the buffalo. And the lions were contact calling, I think trying to regroup. So it would be really nice to finish that story off. I haven't seen any buffalo tracks yet on the road we're driving, so we're going to do a loop around. Kind of wishing for, Darby and I were saying, we either want to find them eating a buffalo, because that would be cool, because then we found them and they had a successful night, or we want to find them still trailing, because then we might get treated to a bit of a showdown. While we keep searching for any sign, you're going to head over and say good morning to JP.
Good morning and welcome to Bushwalk. I'm wishing the Djuma team best of luck in finding those lions as well as a buffalo. It sounds like a lot of fun. For the moment, we are actually sitting listening to the dawn chorus, as there's a number of different birds that are calling, programming materially, as well as in the process of attracting a mate. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the morning. So my name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got Morgan. At the same time, I'm also listening for a number of other sounds. Those might include trees that are breaking, as well as the movement and sounds that animals might produce as they are moving through the bush. Sometimes some of the sounds that we use is actually sounds that are disturbances or alarm calls that are created by other species in aid to find the specific animal they're looking for. So some of the calls that you might be hearing in the background, those include a rattling cicicla and African mourning doves. I just love the call of an African mourning dove. It reminds me of some of the most pleasant safaris I've ever had, and both Chobe as well as in the Okavango Delta. And it almost reminds me of having coffee in the early morning, because these birds normally start calling just before it starts becoming light. The bird call that we're also hearing is that of a ground scraper thrush. Such a pleasant little call. Oh, we're going to go and move on and go and see what can find. Let's go and see what the Djuma team is up to.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene, rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
The Bushwalk feed allows the camera person some creative license. This is my favorite style of shooting. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. You're shooting handheld in some very strange and contorted positions, always with a straight back, often in the squat position, low to the ground. The creativity comes down to the relationship and sync you have with your presenter. The more you understand each other, the more you'll be able to tell the story seamlessly.
All right, so that group of buffalo, they're very nervous. They keep on moving away from us. We've got an injured bull there. So we've decided to head back to the road and not bother them any further. They're already stressed. So we're gonna continue. John T is then obviously gonna work the area where he's left them. I'm gonna go a bit further north for two reasons. We're gonna check out if there's any tracks of Shidulu from where we left her yesterday. But we also know that particular area is sort of like a corridor where the telematis often use to get through to the north. So we want to check if they're not doubled back up. So a bit of a two-pronged plan that we have this morning. Now, how do I get through here? How did I get myself in here? Right. Okie dokie. We're gonna have to get around this drainage, eh? How did we not miss the road yet? That's the road just up ahead. I can't see the road. It should be up here somewhere. Let's go around this little drainage here. It should be up here just I mean, I can see it right there, but we're not going to get through here. All right. Hello, Carol. I saw that particular bull yesterday. I remember the exact same scars on his body and the missing tail that was still bleeding. So this wasn't yesterday, although this is the general area where the lions were yesterday. Now, John T did go out after drive yesterday and they did move a lot further south. But they might have doubled back up. They might smell him. So yes, it could very well be. But it's difficult to say exactly. We'll basically find the lions in order to confirm. They could have decided to stick to the larger group of buffalo and then hopefully take one down there. Only time will tell. How did we get so far? And the other thing is, with this overcast weather, you can very quickly get distracted in terms of direction. You might think you're moving south, but you're moving north. So keeping direction is rather tricky in this type of overcast weather. But we should get to the road somewhere around here. Has to be. Right, I'm going to try and head back to the road. Let's head over to Jonty, who's on the move. Yo. There's the bunch.
Chris, sometimes that is puzzling a little bit when you get into the block, when you're trying to find your way back to the road. So we just got the worst radio update in the world. So someone just found the Talamati Pride. They'd moved on to Little Gowrie, which is where we can't go, and I think the buffalo, that they obviously followed them. They must have done a loop. So we're slowly heading that way, because if they haven't caught one yet, there's still a good chance it's nice and cool that they might try again now in this early morning. And we've just got to hold thumbs that they're going to come back towards us. We have to send out like our best lions hunting buffalo wishes. It's always like amazes me how they move and that dynamic of how the buffalo get away. And obviously at night it's much easier for the lions to create that panic, you know, because it's much darker. Well, it's not much darker, it is dark. And that's what they want. They want the buffalo to panic and run. So it's that whole big game of chess that's going on the whole time. Chase, good morning. I haven't seen one at Djuma. Don't know, have you seen one, Darby?
Buffalo hunter Djuma.
No, in the camp.
Oh, in the camp.
I've seen it at, it happened at Impala twice. Once when I was there, it was crazy. It, like basically off of the tea deck where we had tea in the mornings. And then once I wasn't there, but they caught one basically in reception. Like it's there's two buildings with a thatch arch that you walk through, and they like killed it on the welcome mat, which is pretty crazy. No one could go on game drive that day because the lions were in reception blocking the way to the vehicles.
Go.
So I'm just listening to the radio. So these are I'm just listening to the guys who are in the area where the lions have been found. I'm just waiting for an update on what they're actually doing. Yeah, Benson, you're 100% correct. It's perfect human being weather as well. It's so nice, and this is like the best temperature ever, and it's cloudy, so we can't even feel that sun starting to melt our earlobes. But that's exactly what I've been talking about this morning. When the weather's like this, we're hopeful that the predators will be active for longer than they normally are leading into the middle of the day. There's some tracks of buffalo here on the road.
Yeah, I'll just, yeah.
If I could take you on safari all day and all night, I would. But unfortunately, it's not always the best time to see the animals. Now, in between safaris, you can watch the WildEarth Channel with loads of extra shows. If you have a connected television, Apple TV or Roku box, then download the WildEarth app, and if not, then just find it on the App Store on your phone.
Wildlife trafficking remains a growing problem in South Africa, and often made worse by the way the media portray this complex issue. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, have recently embarked on a program whereby they train reporters to better tell stories of wildlife trafficking.
In my community, wildlife conservation is mostly something other people do, and I would like to change that. My name is Iman Singli. I told people I met that the pangolin is one of the most trafficked animals on the planet. But what is a pangolin, they said? Why is it in danger? This is what made me decide that the pangolin story must be told. If we are to play a part in preventing the extinction of this animal, then we must all be part of the battle.
A partnership between WWF South Africa and WESA, supported by US aid.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Just have a small bachelor group of Kudu bulls. You just see the one's horns through the bush there. The other one is heading into this drainage. And there's another one not too far from us, browsing in the bush. Just see how well these things are camouflaged for this woodland habitat that they prefer. You can see why we refer to them as the grey ghost of the bush. Look at that, they just disappear. It's just impressive. And that's not even a fully grown bull. Good morning, Violet. Violet wants to know if Kudu is the most reliable to find predators. Now, if Kudus do see predators, let's sit here and say there's a big male leopard walking here right now. they will let the entire world know. They will utter this very loud barking noise, like almost like a brr, like it sounds like a gunshot almost. If you hear that, you can almost certainly know they see a predator, and usually that would be lion or leopard for that matter. Same goes for bushbuck and nyala, they do the same. So very reliable when that happens. Just want to down a little bit down into this drainage and see if we can't get another view of them. They are young boys, but they're very impressive nonetheless. I just love those markings, and I think we might actually not get a good visual of them again, but that was really, really, really short but sweet. We'll just see if we get another view in this drainage, and if not, we'll move on. But yes, if they do make that alarm call, that bark, you can be near certain there's a predator around. And then if you can see the kudu, and you can just look at which direction they are looking into, you would very likely find your predator. Okay. All right, now they've moved in. All right, let's continue. All right, so I mentioned they prefer this woodland habitat, so the fact that we can't follow them is like self-explanatory, but especially these big bulls, they seldom venture out into the open. They are much slower than the females, having to carry those massive horns all around all the time. So lions do take the bulls much easier than they do the females. So therefore they'll rather stick to rather dense areas. Firstly, for food, they browsers, that's where the best quality food would be, as well as defense against predators, using their camouflage obviously to melt with their surroundings. And then those massive ears of theirs are like radar dishes, and they'll pick up any movement that moves through the bush. Well, that was really beautiful. That was stunning. Hello, Maggie. Good morning and welcome aboard our live safari on Wendy with myself and Craig. Says that you would love to see a big herd of kudu one day. So do I. The only problem we're facing there is that kudu generally don't form large groups. 7 to 10 seems to be the average. I've seen slightly bigger groups than that, but you won't find like 100 or 200 of them. They're not designed to live in such big groups. And one reason is the way that they feed. Now, they are browsers. They eat leaves. Now, a lot of these trees contain a lot of tannins, and it's a defense mechanism, a chemical defense. So when the kudu starts browsing here, certain species of tree will start producing much more tannins and divert more tannins towards the leaves. Tannins makes it unpalatable and indigestible. So therefore they need to move to the next bush and the next bush. And these trees even communicate with each other. They send out chemicals, and when other trees get in contact with that, they also up their levels of tannins and other chemicals. So therefore, if they are huge groups and they're in a certain area, the tannin level in that entire area will raise too high too quickly. And therefore, smaller groups will help contain the tannin levels in a certain immediate area. So therefore, they'd rather stick into some smaller groups. All right, so let's see what Jonty's doing. He's gone down to Chitra while we worked in northern parts of Djuma.
Hopefully I bet quite a bit of bucks on it. No ways, bro. That's far.
I know. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We got a mixed report. So the lions are lying down in an area where we can't go, but it sounds like the buffalo have crossed back into Djuma. So we'll cruise around the dam here a little bit and see if there's anything here, and then we'll go back that side and see if we can catch up to them. I'm sure, or I'm hopeful that the lions will keep trailing them. But for now, that story is on pause. We were just discussing if you had to swim across this dam, what would be the best technique? I was saying to Davy, I think it would, it would be terrifying, but I would think I'd go slowly and quietly and try not make noise. Davy reckons he would go nuts, swim as fast as possible and look as wild as possible so that anything would see you and think, I'm not touching that wild man. And what sparked that conversation is that I've been here 4 times now, the last few drives, and I haven't seen either one of those 2 big crocodiles that we normally see here. I'm just scanning the edges with my binoculars. I'm presuming that's a baby hippo. I haven't seen it this morning. I saw a baby here 2 days ago. Let's see if it pops his head up. Hippos are being very shy. A tool that's it's like a debate that's raged on for years. There's lots of video footage and things that have shown hippos biting and playing with carcasses that they find in the water, but I think a lot of that is just out of curiosity, and they don't have hands to go and feel something, so if they find things in the water they will mouth it, but they don't actually consume the meat. So I'm just keeping quiet a little bit just so you can enjoy some of these sounds around the dam here. Yeah, you don't want to be the last one in the water. I don't know if I just heard, did you hear lions now? Oh, but it sounded far. I might reposition just now. I think it might be too far for the camera, but I saw far on the far side of the dam the Egyptian geese with the 6 little ones. I was just checking to make sure that one hadn't been snacked on. So the parent, mom's still doing well, she's still got all 6. Jeepers, Shantae, that is an unbelievably good question. And I must say, I'm not entirely sure. You will sometimes see oxpeckers on the back of ticks, on the back of hippos when they're a bit more exposed. So I'm sure they will pick up ticks when they come out and feed during the night. But I can't imagine the ticks survive too long when they're in the water. No, that's definitely going to have to be a bit of a research topic.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Oh, what are you doing? Are you trying out for the ballet? Now it's an itchy bottom. Up we get. Mom's coming. Everybody's moving off.
My favorite animal is a leopard, purely because I just think they are just the epitome of feline grace and power, and the way they can move about in any environment and remain hidden until they want to be seen, I just find incredibly intoxicating, and they're amazingly beautiful.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
I love being a camera for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. At the moment we are moving through an area where the vegetation is quite thick, and we decided to abandon on our approach of a number of elephants that we did find, as there is no safe areas within that area. We then continued and we actually got to one of the interesting trees that we have found in this area, and this is a buffalo thorn. And it's fairly interesting as in terms of cultural uses, but it's also a fairly easy tree to actually identify. It's actually one of the very few tree species where you have a thorn that is pointing upward as well as pointing downward. The other being the umbrella thorn, which is a close relative of a pea family and has a very different leaf shape. Where this has got a simple leaf shape, that of the buffalo of umbrella thorn has got a much more complex leaf, which is known as a bipinnately compound leaf. The thorn itself sorry, we just had a little bit of a disturbance over there in the bush. We just want to make sure what it is. Okay, no, it's moved off. My apologies. So coming back to the tree, wherever it gets its name from, the buffalo thorn, it's purely because they believe that buffalo actually will rear into the tree to protect itself against predators such as lion. In Afrikaans, we call it a blinkblaar wag 'n bietjie, which means a shiny leaf to wait a little. And if you do get stuck into this tree, you are going to wait a little bit. There's a number of interesting cultural uses as well as associations of this tree, and one of those cultural uses and associations is that they can eat the leaves and you can swallow that, and that will be then used as a astringent to clean a throat that has been infected. We can also use the leaves as an alternative for a salad. One of the beliefs that they also believe about this tree is that if you do have a relative that has passed away, you can actually capture their soul and spirit with a tree by waving a branch of this in the room where they've passed away, and then simply that will be transported to a area where the person was born. Once again, I just say apologies. There's a very noisy vehicle that has just came past us, and that was where our focus is on. I just want to see where they want to go, that we don't by accident walk into them. There's also another belief about the buffalo thorn, and that is that they say that it will actually divert lightning, and it is safe for it. And they divert the lightning strike, and therefore you can hide underneath a tree. Good morning and welcome back onto Bushwalk. Yes, we do have a number of people that are, as a person that is watching our back, so we always have a backup with us while we are here. It's fairly easy to get distracted, especially now, like we have that vehicle that's moving into our area and we're not sure what they're busy doing, and we also want to make sure that they don't by accidentally push animals towards us, and therefore the backup will keep an eye open while myself and Morgan is focused on interpreting interesting trees or tracks or birds at that moment. That's very important, that you can never drop your guard out here in the bush. The moment that you become complacent and you're not observing about what's going on in your area, that's where you often can very quickly get yourself into a tricky situation. Well, we're going to move on and go and see what we can go and find. And let's go and see what Jonty has found.
Yeah, you don't want to be caught in a sticky situation, JP. Keep your wits about you there, boy. So look, we just moved a little bit closer to see the 6. Look how cute they are. Starting from the left, there's Toby, Brad, Felicity, and Jim. Oh, Richard wanted to be getting on the action.
Where are you up to now?
Oh, there's Darby at the back. No, I'm only joking. They don't really have names.
So from where we put that little flutter on the road for you, going straight south.
Oh, sorry, I was just listening to the radio. I was so hopeful for buffalo lion sighting this morning, but it sounds like some buffalo have gone even further south. I really hope this isn't the time that a crocodile's going to show itself. They just look so soft and fluffy. I mean, for a big crocodile, that would be a bit of a waste of energy, but if there are any young crocodiles here, unfortunately, one of those would be a perfect little snack. Every time I see like a ripple in the water, I hit a bit of a panic. Oh, Chris has found some buffalo. You're going to head over to him and see what they're up to.
All right, we've managed to catch up with some more buffalo. And again, looks like a rather fragmented group, or maybe a split off from the herd from last night. So obviously the lions were busy. Wendy, the buffalo magnet. In fact, Craig and I decided we're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam area and sneak around in those drainage lines to see if not any chance of seeing Tlalamba around there. Hi. Good morning, paws and claws. And I just want to wish you a happy birthday from our side. And paws and claws said that it would be amazing if we can find a leopard on this birthday. Gonna try our best. We're gonna try our best. Maybe that's the luck we need to find Tlalamba and cubs. That'll be an amazing gift for you. Oh, there's a little cattle egret as well, trailing them. Hello. Eating all the insects, specifically locusts and grasshoppers that's been chased up as the buffalo moves through the grass. I see them at my dad's ranch as well with our cattle doing exactly the same, even oxpeckers. Hello, Denise. Yes, there's only one cattle egret, but there's a few other egrets. There's not the only egret here, there's little egrets, cattle egrets. It's a couple. Most common is the cattle egrets. But as a species, cattle egrets, the only cattle egret we have here. So just inside the bush, I'm going to get a nice little open area and then we'll stop again and see them come past. We'll have a gap through here, I'm sure. Let's wait for them. They're going to come past right here in this open area here. There we go.
I don't think so.
There's a small mhlaminyari on the Firebreak Buffalo Gowrie cut line, sort of between the junction of Gowrie cut line and Mvubu, heading westwards, parallel to the Firebreak. Good morning, Erica. It's just the way they move. You know, I seem a bit more calm now, but they'll constantly look around. They'll move quite quickly, move, stop, look around, listen, move, stop. And just their general sort of posture will be much less relaxed. And, you know, they will... Although these guys don't seem too worried now, they're just moving fast. Probably trying to get away from the immediate area where all the action happened last night. And trying to get to an area where there's no lions, and they will never really know where that will be. It could also be that they're on their way to water, or they just came from water and they just want to get to probably a good feeding ground. You can see they're starting to slowly but surely every now and then drop the head and graze. Turn around a little bit, they're going to cross the road. Let's count them when they cross. All right, let's count them. Off they go, eh? Alright, so we're probably not going to stick with them. They've crossed now into Buffelshoek. So I think we want to continue with our plan to search the area and scout around Fort Lalamba. How many did you count there? Let us know. Right, a lot of comments coming through. It sounds like everybody's in agreement that it's just over 60 of them. Yeah, I got about 62, I think. But I might have missed one or two. Nice size group. Right, let's go look for Lalamba.
As a naturalist, it's really important that I stay up to date and up to breast with what's happening in the wild and in the world around us. The WildEarth app helps us do that and helps us stay abreast with the live interactions of animals every day. We're going to be here at Stony Point bringing you the African penguin story, and we'd love to see you on the app. See you on the beach.
Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
There is clearly something in the vicinity around you that's drawn their attention. Yes, that meerkat in the tree is just the coolest of cool meerkats. But watch how he battles when he comes down. That would be like me climbing a tree, just better.
I am an outdoor photographer, a wildlife filmmaker, and a conservation storyteller. Penguin Beach is going to offer us this really unique opportunity to watch and pick up on the smallest of details in the penguins' lives. It's going to allow us the time to really get to know these penguins well, get to know their story, and get to interpret the little finer details and share that with you with a live TV show and get you to fall in love with penguins.
Big hole in that termite mound. So we've just done a loop around in Chitwa. Now we're coming towards these open areas. There was a part of me hoping we might get lucky and bump into the dogs again, but the tracks headed south. It seems like that run of good luck might have run its course. But I think what we'll do is go check this eastern part of Chitwa, see if there's anything that pops up. That will be our plan for the next bit of while. I'll try and drive some of the areas where I actually haven't been yet, so I haven't really done this eastern part of Chitwa. I've maybe done one or two of the roads. And remember, we heard the guys yesterday, they saw a male leopard coming in this way. They think it was should get to see him. And while we come and explore here, you're going to head over to Chris and see what he's doing.
I'm just driving a little faster than usual because we just went through a little dip. Don't want to lose signal there. So Jonty's scratching around Chitwa. Hopefully he'll be lucky there. And then, like I mentioned, we're on the way to that drainage system around Buffelshoek area. See if we don't perhaps see anything on Tlalamba. That will be day done. And at the same time, en route there, we're just checking the cut line. Always a good idea to check your boundaries. For anything, really. I mean, just that luck there with that buffalo. Now, Jonty certainly had some very good luck in his first couple of days. Good day, Tobias. As a whole, it's not an endangered species. If we use the IUCN as a frame network, or a reference rather, they are listed as vulnerable. Means there is a concern about the numbers. So they are largely confined to major conservation areas, but there's no immediate concern that they will become extinct. So the levels there, so you have least concern, which is an animal like an impala or scrub hares, which means they're in abundance even outside conservation areas. Then you get vulnerable, and those are usually either animals that used to occur in large quantities and now confined to major conservation areas, or something that naturally don't occur in big numbers, something like a serval. There's plenty of them, but the density is low naturally. And then from there, the next step would be endangered. Next step, extinct. So that's the four classifications the IUCN uses. The buffalo is listed, oh yeah, you get near threatened and then endangered. So buffalo is listed as vulnerable. The population in the Kruger Park is stable and has been for couple of decades, and by being stable there is still some fluctuations. In dry times we might see the population plummet to around 20,000. In good times it might go up to about 40,000. You know, so there's definitely a fluctuation curve that seems to follow the rain patterns, very closely resemble our dry and wet cycles, and I'm not referring to our seasonal changes. This is long-term dry and wet cycles that I'm referring to. I mean, they've made a big comeback in some areas where they used to be in large numbers but then got decimated by humans. Take Mozambique, for instance. Particular area around Moremiu, the Zambezi Delta, where during the Civil War they were nearly wiped out. The population back in the last 2 odd decades to a population almost the same as Kruger's. Interesting how just by protecting the area, there were a few small pockets of them still hiding away from humans, and they naturally sort of rejoined and started sort of reseeding the population by themselves, which was amazing. And we always hear about these conservation stories, and you how animals are brought back literally from the brink of extinction. So you will have local extinctions of buffalo. I mean, in South Africa, we had an event in the late 1800s where a disease called the rinderpest wiped out huge populations, not only buffalo, but a lot of game in general. So therefore today, buffaloes in the rest of the country is pretty much gone. But surely, through conservation effort, they are being reintroduced to a lot of other areas, and they're becoming a bit more common in other areas of the country. The problem we sit with buffalo is that the largest reservoir of naturally occurring buffalo in South Africa is in this greater Kruger region. But unfortunately, we cannot use this population to seed another population diseases they carry here. So you need to breed them disease-free in order to relocate them to other parts of the country. And that's a long process. And it's business as well, able to feed them, because it's a process. Gives them value at least. Going through a tip here quickly. So there's a lot of smaller reserves from those disease-free populations, but they are rather expensive. It's a good incentive for people to get involved in relocating buffalo and obviously do it as a business.
The lionesses, we had Darkman, of course, doing his best to protect them and to catch a buffalo for them for dinner. But unfortunately, as soon as the buffalo came along, he hot-tailed in the opposite direction. No, we're having a fabulous time, and it's really been magnificent so far. Thank you.
There we go, look. All three in one frame. Look at that, isn't that cool? Oh, that is so special. That is exactly what we had been hoping for, is all three of them to come together and make the perfect little family portrait.
The Bushwalk feed allows the camera person some creative license. This is my favorite style of shooting. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. You're shooting handheld in some very strange and contorted positions, always with a straight back, often in the squat position, low to the ground. The creativity comes down to the relationship and sync you have with your presenter. The more you understand each other, the more you'll be able to tell the story seamlessly.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. At the moment we are looking at a plant that's known as a black stick lily, also known as a baboon's tail. I find these quite a remarkable plants as they can go for incredibly long periods of time without water, and it's said that they can remain dried up and shriveled in that appearance for over 6 to 7 months. The moment that they do get into contact with water, they can start up all the metabolic processes within approximately 24 hours. And generally you start seeing these leaves starting to push out once the first rains have returned. I also like flowers of a specific plant, and one of the things that we do find is that there's a specific orchid that actually will grow on it, which mimics the same flower as that the black stick lily has. However, they don't actually flower at the same time of the year, and that's a way that you can actually separate them. As we already mentioned, that there's a specific orchid that actually associates with this. This plant is also quite often harvested specifically for the purpose of using it as a growing medium for orchids. However, that should be discouraged to take them out of their natural environment. The plant itself is also incredibly resilient to fire, and when it comes to fire and using the plant, you can also use the roots by burning that for treatment of asthma, and the whole plant is said that you can burn it for the treatment of nosebleeds. Good morning, Katlego, and welcome to the show. No, that's unfortunately not the case. Quite often what we do know is that through learning that we will actually establish if a plant is toxic or non-toxic. Sometimes the most beautiful of plants are also sometimes the most toxic of plant species. Most plants have some form of chemicals inside them, and that will be toxic to various degrees for us. Some of them are be able to use for a number of medicinal purposes. We also find that the side effects of the plants over a prolonged period of time can also have a detrimental effect on a human being. We're going to move on and go and see what else we can go and find. While we're moving off, let's go and see what Chris is up to.
Good luck, JP. In the meantime, we are now just past Buffelshoek Dam. Not much to report there. We now just very slowly checking every little bush and road along the drainage to see if there's anything on Tlalamba. If nothing transpires here, we'll probably head to a different area. Where does this road go to? Let's check it out. Good morning, Suzanne. Nothing yet. We were there yesterday again. Nothing at the dent. I know Jonty is down at Chitwa, so I'll try and reach Spider. See if I can contact him to ask him if he's going to go past there. Otherwise, we will eventually make our way there. I know some of the Djuma guides also indicated they want to go there. I've not yet received any reports that there's activity. But we will certainly I really hope that we can find Lalamba. She's been missing now for a while. Hi Sophia, and happy birthday as well to you. So now we've got 2 birthdays that we have to celebrate with a leopard. The nice thing about today is that because there's no directive for longer, whereas in the normal sunny mornings you would probably find that you've got about an hour after which they go lie down because of the heat, and then unless you get them up in a tree or something like that, your success rate is lower. But I did find that on a day like today they could utilize this cooler weather and try and move for longer, whether it be to try and hunt or perhaps mark territories or just move from one area to another, like transit. Hi there, Flip-Flop. I'm trying to think now. I'm going to tell you the ones that I have seen. So it will all of those that I have seen. So then it'll obviously let you know which ones I have not seen. So I've seen. Let's start off with Tortoise Pan, Kara, Maribs, Tandi, Shadulu, Tlalamba, and Shasha. It's 8. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that I've missed there. Yeah, those are the ones I've seen so far. I've seen Kuchava, I'm looking forward to adding to that list.
I've always dreamed of Africa since I was a little girl. And then I just decided, you know what? It's time to come. It's time to just live the dream.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
It is so exciting. You're able to see the difference of what you see on TV to how much work it actually is creating what you see on TV. The leopards, mareeps. How could you not really fall in love with that cat? He's got such a personality, and you never know what he's going to do.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
It's about just being together and seeing and enjoying the animals and the great outdoors. It's just been a great experience. Certainly, if anyone's able to, dare to dream and come.
wildlife trafficking remains a growing problem in South Africa, and often made worse by the way the media portray this complex issue. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, have recently embarked on a program whereby they train reporters to better tell stories of wildlife trafficking.
In my community, wildlife conservation is mostly something other people do, and I would like to change that. My name is Iman Singli. I told people I met that the pangolin is one of the most trafficked animals on the planet. But what is a pangolin, they said? Why is it in danger? This is what made me decide that the pangolin story must be told. If we are to play a part in preventing the extinction of this animal, then we must all be part of the battle.
A partnership between WWF South Africa and WESA, supported by US Aid.
Hello, boy. You are a monster. And he's coming right up to us. Hello, boy. Oh, settle down. Settle down. He is very, very close. He's pushing his trunk against the car. You can feel the car moving. Hey, 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 hey. Stop that.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
See him there.
Who?
Samuel. I think it's the eastern side of the
we're just sitting with the herd of Impala. We just had a vehicle come rushing past us, giving us a potential update of a leopard. I'll have to check on the radio. No, but he's still going. I'll have to just check. What did he say? Kachava?
That's right.
Is that male or female?
Lady.
A lady. Oh, you said she's got a cub. So there's potentially an update of Kachava. I don't know if the cub's present, but I will find out and see if it's somewhere where we can go. I just saw a kudu come running out. I can't see it now. It just ran out across the break there. So we just did a big loop around Chitwa Dam. And look, probably the one road that we didn't drive on is potentially the one where Kachava might have been found. So I'll check on the radio. But we're also just spending a bit of time with this group of male Impala. They're also just loving. We're on the fire break here. And you can see how there's... Oh, is a hyena calling? That's a cool sound. Yeah, this new green growth. The impalas are loving it. I haven't seen in the bush here anything like that. When I was studying, there was a corn snake that hatched or was born with, it had two heads, which was pretty weird, but it didn't survive very long at all. I've seen on some like black rhino, like these almost like pulps, like little growths sometimes below the ear. I had one impala, I think, just gave itself a fright and just booked it out of here. I'm just going to check quickly on the radio what's going on with this stations. My radio has been down. Is there a sighting with Kachava? Copy. What was the position? Okay, copied. Thank you. Can we go there?
Yeah, we can, but I think she's moved because that's far away from it's here. So.
Okay, so they did see her and she went north. So maybe we'll go kind of in that area, see maybe if we get lucky, can find some tracks. Boogalutu, that's a great name for it. While we plan our next move, you're going to head over to Chris, who's busy cruising around.
All right, I also had reports of Kuchava somewhere. I'm not really sure where it is. I know it's on Torchwood side somewhere, or not entirely sure. I'll try and find out. Maybe while we're on that note, let's see if maybe we're a little bit closer than Jonty and we can try and figure out where it is. Not sure where Jonty is at the moment. He's on one of his missions somewhere. I think it's Jonty now talking to them. So that's a leopard I've not seen yet. It sounds like Jonty is just back onto Djuma.
And well, coming forward, Jonty. Yeah, Jonty, go ahead. And well, I've been off this channel for a while. Have there been any updates? Yeah, it was passing in Kuchava, just inside of the Chidwa new driveway. I left off there, but she was inside Chidwa. She was moving parallel with the trailer. And there's the Matol water.
Yeah, it sounds like that leopard was a bit further south. All right, so we've got our updates there. So we're going to work, so we are in the northeastern parts of the property, so we're going to be working this area. And then slowly maneuver downwards to perhaps the go and check out the Hyena den site. I'm not sure if Jonty's en route there. There's some leopard tracks and Hyena tracks. All right, that's fresh though. Good day, Daniel. Daniel wants to know if I've seen many caracals. Not in this particular area. They do occur here. I've seen them once or twice in the south. They are around. They're definitely around here. It's just not very often seen. In fact, everywhere where I've worked, they were in rather short supply. Mostly nocturnal and so forth. I've seen quite a few of them in the Kalahari, I must say. And where else have I seen a number of them? Nowhere really. Always like one here, one there. I've seen one in the south of the Sabi Sands one day that killed a duiker, fully grown duiker. It was a big male caracal. Awesome cats. They're really very good hunters. See how they jump off the guinea fowl that flies low. actually leaps into the air and grabs them in flight. It's quite incredible. Days like today is very likely, if anything, if in daytime, a day like today, they'll be up and about. But other than that, very nocturnal. They don't like to move around too much in daytime. At least not here. See if this one wants up. There we go. That's Springbuck. They just run. Trying to get them onto camera all the time.
Look at that, it's amazing. Wow, hey.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, live.
Oh, that's cool.
Just in there.
And the black mamba is going up the tree and the mongoose is attacking it.
He's gonna pounce again.
Sure you can all agree with me. It's not a bad start to our Wednesday morning.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
Look at that. It's just beautiful.
Fantastic display by a little herd of springbuck.
How is this view?
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Amazing, they've locked their tusks together. You can hear the cracking branches.
It is so incredible to spend this time so close to an African penguin, and it's completely unfazed by my presence whatsoever.
How insane is that animal?
Amazing.
Awesome. It is fantastic to watch.
Well, now we've got a tug of war between mom and daughter, look.
Just at a loss for words, yeah. That's just incredible to see that.
We're taking a slow little bumble down to the den site to check if something's happened there. Jonty said he's not going to go there. He's got other plans for now. So that's a great opportunity for us to actually head there. To slow bumble towards the den site. Maybe after that, check if there's anything happening with the owls. They weren't there yesterday. Well, they couldn't see them. I'm sure they were around. So I think for the next 40 minutes to an hour, that is our plan. This It's not just where you really want to drive and just see that Impala carcass hanging in a tree. Interesting if that will work. Michelle asking if a drone could assist us with locating a leopard. Perhaps. I've never tried it. And I recall at one stage, didn't we have like the nighttime at night, I think. The problem is, I mean, from above, leopards are always in cover, so I'm not sure if a drone will help you. I've used a drone finding other animals for other reasons, like our cattle and stuff, and the ranch and stuff, but even with a drone in this bush, you'll still need to know which area to look in. If you just randomly go with a drone, I think I'm not sure whether you'll be able to, and you know, those cameras are rather small. I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody's tried something like that. Could work. There's also some legislation about it as well. You know, you can't just fly a drone anywhere you would like to, especially in an area like this. Lots of permits and permissions that's needed for that. But I don't know. I'd like to chat to some people, see if some other guys elsewhere in the country maybe perhaps have used it with success. Not sure if that's going to take a bit of the fun out of it though. You know, the whole driving around finding animals. In essence, that's almost like the essence of the safari in a large way. Sorry. I'm sure there's management applications if there's a specific animal that you're looking for, an injured lion or an injured rhino, something that needs to be, you know, tranquilized or something. Perhaps that can work. That could be an application for it. Well, Wendy feels extra bumpy today. Hi there, aspiring guy. The ratio of predators to prey. But start with lions. We've got the Nkumas and the Telematis. How many lions? Quickly, about what? 20? 25? Roundabout? Maybe a bit more. I mean, only the Impala alone is probably about 2,000 probably. 1,000 to 2,000 at least. We saw the buffalo herd, 500. They're not the only herd that comes through here. Couple of hundred different other things. So the ratio predators according to prey is more than 1 to 10, or less actually. So it's not even 1 to 10, and that you can't have as many compared to. Ratio has to be low. They'll just wipe out their prey populations, and therefore they won't be able to exist themselves. Anyway, we'll dwell on that a bit later. Let's head over to JP, see what he's doing.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. It's been an incredibly quiet morning so far, and we eventually caught up with our first animal on Bushwalk this morning. That's also one of my favorites, and I'm so happy that we've managed to find a giraffe. And started moving a little bit closer to come and see what we are up to. Quite often we will see that a number of animals will rather come closer and come and see what is a perceived threat and then decide if they're going to move off or not. In the case of giraffes, they relax very quickly with us out here on foot. I just find them absolutely fascinating animals in terms of their whole anatomy. And one of the things I do find particularly interesting is the neck. And that incredibly long neck has precisely the same amount of neck vertebra as that we have. But it has something else in addition that we don't have, and that is an atlas and an axis vertebra that is configured in such a way that it can tilt the head all the way in an upright position. You often will see giraffes actually pushing their heads up in that position and then still extending their tongue for several more centimeters so that they can reach the highest of the branches and strip the leaves off those little twigs of those branches. So if you wonder what giraffes eat, they generally feed only on leaves. However, they do take a small amount of grass, but they do also occasionally will go for flowers as well as a number of other seed pods of different plants. We also find occasionally that you will actually find giraffes busy feeding on bones, which is quite a weird behavior to see. But the reason why they do that is specifically to obtain calcium. At the moment, our giraffe is just busy ruminating, and you can see it's grinding its jaws from left to right. And this is a behavior that they normally start doing once the first stomach chamber is full. And now it's started actually feeding again. Let's see what he's getting up to. Maybe we can get that long tongue busy stripping those leaves off the twigs on one of our shots. If we do look at giraffe, they've also got incredibly long eyelashes, and if you will notice, most of the time when they are feeding, they're actually feeding on thorny plants such as the Vivacelias and Senegalias, and that's another adaptation that they have to protect the eyes against those incredibly long thorns. Good morning, Grant, and welcome to the show. It's always special to find giraffe, if it's on foot or in a vehicle. As for me, it's one of those animals that makes Africa uniquely Africa. So many of the other larger species, we also have close relatives on other continents, but giraffe itself is unique to the African environment, just like zebras. And I just love finding zebras as well as giraffe. I just also love finding them to be so curious, and that they will always come and have a look at what's going on. It's quite often, very seldom, that you will actually find that they will be staring at something for purely nothing. And quite what we see with giraffe is that they often lead us to other species as well, such as predators on the ground. So if you are finding a giraffe on a foot and it's staring at something else other than you, there's a very good chance that you might have a leopard, hyena, or potentially a lion on foot then as well. A few years ago, one of my colleagues decided to see how close he could get to a giraffe as a joke, and they decided that they're going to put their cap on top of their rifle, and he and his friend then decided to walk like a giraffe and put the rifle in an upright position with a hat on it, pretending to be a giraffe. As they came closer, they suddenly noticed that the giraffe was no longer looking at them, and very soon a lioness was growling at them. While we're watching our giraffe, let's go and see what Chris is up to.
Yeah, Jappy's correct. I've often seen giraffe stare at leopards and can point you to those things easily. We can do with a giraffe pointing out a leopard, yeah. Well, we're just doing a relaxed Saturday morning drive. Seems to be the case. Excuse me. Obviously a bit of pollen somewhere in the air. Oi, excuse me again. Ooh. There's obviously something flowering there that zapped me a bit there. I hope the hyena is active. It's been 2 days now where we have not seen much activity there. We're not that far from it. Here's a Birchall's cuckoo. Just heard that cuckoo going just now. Hi there, Danny. It all depends on how low you go with the drone. I've been involved in some documentaries, not as a cameraman obviously, but where drones were used, and I have seen that they do tend to disturb them if you get very low. But if you're high enough, they don't even notice it. And that's a few meters I'm talking about. It's lovely. Birchall's cuckoo. Remember old Fred the chameleon? And the chameleon we had yesterday. Now that bird is one of their predators. The cuckoo's often seen moving around in the branches looking for those chameleons, especially the babies. Hi Richard, he mentions animals will have to be habituated to drones. Yep, probably. Experience that I had with drones, and it was, you know, again, with documentaries and so forth, not as a presenter or cameraman, as purely as a guide to find a particular species. A few meters makes a big difference, and then you don't even hear them and they don't seem to react much. But it's if you're very low. Those drones are, even a few meters up, sounds like a swarm of bees maybe flying around there. So, not sure. It's definitely not yet something that's on the cards there at the moment. Not sure what the future will bring. Like I said, there's a lot of blueprint and fine print and permits and all sorts of things associated with the use of drones. Certainly gives you some incredible camera angles, perspective. And obviously this being a television based, I think drone could actually work. But for normal, I would recommend, really. I've even had guests bringing drones with them on safari and asking if they can fly their drones around. And unfortunately, I was not at liberty to give them permission. Lots of problems if you fly it without permission in this region. But back to the bush. Slowly edging towards the hyena den. I'm really hoping that there's some activity there. If not, we'll try again this afternoon. Male leopard tracks here. Some male leopard tracks here. from last night. These impalas are quite relaxed here. Right, we'll check it out momentarily. There's somewhere in this drainage, eh?
Hello everyone, my name is JP. I'm one of your WildEarth eco-training bushwalk guides. So for many years you've been watching WildEarth directly from your laptop or computer. However, now you can watch it directly from your connected TV, your Apple TV, or from your Roku box. And if you are like me, always busy, you can now download the WildEarth app and view it directly from your mobile phone.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
I've been a guide for just over 20 years. Started my career in the Lowveld of South Africa, and it's become full circle, and I'm back here today and I'm extremely grateful for that. My favorite animal is hands down elephants. I'm a family man, and the way the family is structured in elephants, it resonates with me, and therefore I've chosen elephants. My favorite activity out in the bush is to track big game. It gives you the opportunity to learn about their behavior in much more depth than just observing them. My favorite sighting at WildEarth was where the Djuma Pride was trying to hunt buffalo in this beautiful, misty, foggy morning. The whole setting was just so surreal, and it intensified, culminating in a near successful hunt. One of the main reasons I became a guide in the first place is to share this wonder with people, and now I get to do it with a much wider audience.
Welcome back with John T and Darby. So, sorry, we kind of fell off the signal map there. We went to go check where the last report of Kachava, a female leopard, was. I mean, we got a very broad description of where she was. We drove the roads all around that area. We couldn't find any tracks. We got super excited. We found a waterbuck that was looking a little bit nervous, staring one way, and we checked in there, but no luck. So we're just looping back around towards Djuma. I think we're going to leave Chitwa, go back onto Djuma and see what's happening that side. I just got an update as well from the last vehicle to leave where the Djuma Pride are lying down, and they are still flat out lying down. So at least we know we're not missing out on any action. I think we'll go do a bit of damming now. We'll go check twin dams. Let's go see what's happening at Treehouse Dam and everything else in between. I must say, it would be nice to do a proper tracking mission. Doesn't matter for what. Yeah, Daniel, those are super rare. I've had a couple of really great sightings in the Eastern Cape. I worked at a place called Kwandwe, and we used to have some really good sightings of them. Such a beautiful little cat. One of my friends was a chef there, and she actually saw a black-footed cat with kittens, which is like the most ridiculous thing ever. I know guys with their molars to see that sort of thing, and he got some pretty crusty BlackBerry phone images video. So carrying in them. So I'm just putting the radio back on the right channel. Have you seen one, Darby?
No, I haven't.
They are, I mean, it looks like a house cat when you see it, but it's obviously a bit smaller. Really, really beautiful little cat. But tricky to have like a long sighting with them because they move, and little tiny bushes they can go hide themselves in. Imagine how we lose leopards, and now you're looking for something that's like this big.
Anyway. Can I talk? Yeah.
I wonder where yesterday there was that quite nice elephant bull that was here by Twin Dams, slowly feeding north and west into Djuma. It'd be quite nice to hang out with him for a little bit today. Before but I must say my time in terms of
Welcome back on Bushwalk. At the moment we are walking through an area where the vegetation is quite thick. So we were just at the moment trying to divert an elephant that was coming towards us, and we then managed to get to the downwind side of it, so we would know it would be perfectly safe in that position. So a few of the plants that we can point out over here that we might just share with you is one of these beautiful knob thorn trees that you can see. Quite often we find that these trees are quite heavily targeted by elephants, especially in the early parts of spring, as they're one of the first plant species to flower. This year, I was actually very surprised as most of these trees were already flowering by June, and by September, almost every single knobthorn in this area was under full flowers. We find because they push their nutrients up through to the top of a tree to produce a flower, and then later on they will start forming leaves. And that's one of the reasons why elephants specifically go for the inner bark, and why we also find that elephants will often ring bark these trees in the process of feeding on the inner bark. Sometimes you'll find a tree that's been partially ring barked and will be able to still survive for quite a long time. Other than that, elephants also utilize a tree. We also find that there's an association quite often with white-backed vultures, which actually like using these trees as nesting sites as well. So quite often, white-backed vultures are also confused with Cape vulture, but Cape vultures are a cliff nesting species. So next time when you are driving through the Kruger National Park or a conservation area and you see a vulture nesting up in a tree, it's very likely a white-back vulture and not a Cape vulture at all. We do find that we have a large number of Cape vultures actually entering this area quite often to come and feed on the remains of animals once there has been kills made by a species such as lion and leopard in the area. To come back, we've also seen over the years that there was a study specifically aimed at the nesting and successes of whiteback vultures, because quite often we find that the time that they nest, the trees are also quite heavily targeted by elephant. Good morning, Bill, and welcome to the show. Those big rains will probably be coming in the next few weeks. We are actually, however, very fortunate that we had early rain this season already, and the bush is quite nice and green compared to previous years, where it was still quite a lack of vegetation as well as grasses by the months of October and November. We've now been seeing that from the end of October, we've already had sufficient amount of grass coming through with our first rains. However, the main rains will most likely start falling from December and to January, and we also find that our rains can sometimes be a little bit late, and some years I've noticed that the months of March and April had far higher amount of rainfall. While we continue and go and see what else we can go and find, let's go and see what Jonty is up to.
Yeah, hopefully we do get some big rain. So I know Chris checked earlier. I thought we'd just come check again, seeing as we haven't seen adult here for like the last 3 days. And there's nothing at the den. So we will leave it to itself. I'm just going back to, was it Lazy Boy asking the favorite place that I've guided? I was saying Mala Mala was pretty good, and I say pretty good, it was ridiculous. In terms of like big five density and interaction, I think there's a better spot. But all the places I've worked, you know, it's so obviously the animals play a big part, but it's also so dependent on your team. And I've been pretty lucky that the places I've worked at have always had legendary people working there. My time at Pinda was so there's like a WhatsApp group, the Old Guard, like a group of us that were there at one time, and it always goes through, like, I'm sure if you speak to guides who are there now, they'll say they've got the best team in the world, and we thought we had the best team when we were there, and we just had so much fun when we were at Pinda. A lot of touch rugby and a lot of building bras. The Eastern Cape, Kwandwe is also a really beautiful place, completely different to the Lowveld, but really good. We used to see, Chris was talking about earlier, we used to have some very good caracal. Black-footed cat, aardwolf, aardvark, bat-eared.
Yeah, seems like we lost Jonty there for a moment. Couldn't find anything on that. There was tracks of a male leopard that was going into the drainage close to the wigs. Driven there, no sign of the wigs either. I suspect that, again, they are just on top of the dam. the bank of the ravine or drainage line. And nothing further from that male leopard tracks as well. Also not very fresh. It's from relatively early last night. Now we're just gonna sort of move around and just cover more ground. We've driven very much most of Djuma. Lovely buffaloes this morning, I must say. We still have time. One thing I'm also trying to find is a glasses cuckoo. Hi there, leopard lover. No, I've not guided, well, in Namibia, or at least not in a professional capacity. I've been to Namibia a few times on holiday in some of the parts, but, you know, with some family members and friends, and during those times I did a bit of unofficial guiding. You know, you're always a guide wherever you go, but never professionally, no. It's a lovely country, I must say. There's still huge areas I've not been to and have not explored there. I was actually planning a trip for December last year, and unfortunately last minute, due to travel restrictions, we had to cancel. So we postponed that trip, which I was very disappointed in, but it is what it is, you know. If you're not allowed to travel, you're not allowed to travel, you know. It was rather disappointing. Now, I've done all my professional guiding in South Africa, and the bulk of it in the greater Kruger. Although I've been in the Kalahari for a while as well, the Waterberg region, also done a bit of work there. And you'll probably remember Guide of the Year competition, which was earlier in the year around Marakele National Park. In fact, I live very close to Marakele National Park, where I actually live. So I'm doing some work there as well at times. Take some guests. All over.
Yeah, Tingana. That's my boy.
It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Wow, what a way to start off.
Bright colors, and it attracts the insect to the flower, which is exactly what we're watching right now. This is so exciting. Oh, there's two.
Hello, Mama. It's all good. Hi. Hi.
The smallest baby blackback jackal I have seen in the wild. Look how full the belly is.
It is so incredible to spend this time so close to an African penguin. They just make me feel alive.
That is incredibly sweet. Grooming each other.
Play is vital. This is how they learn. This is how they would tackle prey.
There you go, there you go. There you go, there you go. Heart is pumping right now.
Look at this, everybody. We've got a live kill.
There's nowhere to go.
It's just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, live.
There she goes, going for the youngster. She got it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Look at that.
It is insanely good footage.
Welcome back. Now, just looking at some of the western and northern parts of Djuma. See what else is coming out there. Not sure if this area has been covered by some of the other guides. I was actually about to say, we're looking for a glasses cuckoo. I've not seen many and heard many, and Craig just mentioned he hasn't heard one yet this season. Yeah, that's another bird I'm trying to actually photograph. So very tricky bird to get a shot of. Yes, you can hear them, but just into that brush. A very distinct call. So like a very distinct call. Well, let's see if Jonty can find one, perhaps. Let's link over to Jonty, see what he's up to on his bumble.
I'll definitely keep my eyes open for one. It's a beautiful bird. So we left the hyena den, but then we heard hyenas, or a hyena calling. It sounded like south of Twin Dam, so we're actually just doing a loop back around to see. Maybe we'll get lucky and see this hyena that's walking and calling. I think I heard a question, someone asking if I'd ever guided in Namibia. No, I've never guided there, but I've been there, traveled there. Amazing place. Did you say it was Leopard Lover?
I think so.
Leopard Lover, was that your question? And have you been there? Have you spent time in Namibia? Now, Darby and I have just been chatting about these hyena dynamics. I know before I came back, I think there'd been a lot of sort of the hyena saga was playing out with Corky coming back and Ribbon. Everyone worried about Ribbon, and we were just saying, we were debating, would Corky come in and necessarily just take out Ribbon's cubs? I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of competition between the hyena cubs themselves, and often one will kill another inside the den. But whether or not in a new takeover, I mean, if you think about, they normally say the offspring will inherit their mother's rank. So if Ribbon's cubs were born while she was the matriarch, they then would inherit a very high rank. within the clan. Even from that young age, they kind of have their standing in the clan. So maybe Corky would be aggressive towards them. I don't know, but we've seen them there. We saw the cubs yesterday, so they are still in there. Very, very interesting behavior that goes on. So I'm just driving nice and slow. I'm also I'm listening because I'd love to hear that hyena call again. While we come and stake out twin dams, you're going to head over to JP.
Well, the Djuma team is looking for their classes cuckoos and hyenas. We were very fortunate to actually have a classes cuckoo this morning. I also make a very distinct call. Now, this bird is quite often confused with Diederik's cuckoo, as they are very similar in appearance, but with a little bit of skill, you can actually easily separate them. But if you are familiar with the calls, it makes it even more easy to actually separate the two species. As a classes cuckoo has a very distinct call that sounds something like this. The Diederik's cuckoo, on the other hand, has got a very distinct Diederik call, which sounds something like this. But while we are at the moment standing at one of the trees that I was going to discuss this with you as well, I'm just going to share a few facts with you about this red bush willow. It's a fairly easy tree to identify. It's got greyish coloration bark, and then it's simple leafed. And within a few weeks, we're also going to have, we've just been distracted by a dangerous animal approaching. We just want to see what it is, so we'll go back to what it is. We've just got some elephants coming very close by to us. It might actually be that they've actually detected our smell, and they're now moving away from us. We're just going to stand perfectly still and out of their view that they don't see where we're going. It seems like quite a big group of elephants, and it predominantly all looks like bulls. And what they're doing is most likely making their way towards a waterhole. We can actually hear some elephants in the distance there as well. It's busy trumpeting. There's a lot of competition between these bulls at the moment. And what we do find is that they will actually compete for cows at the moment. But they are coming to us, and we're just going to...
Okay, so we've come around to Twin Dams. This is on the southern side. This is where the sound of that hyena was coming from. So we're just sitting here a little bit above the pan. This is the woodland kingfisher. It's busy preening itself. I think we need to rename this mud wallow. This is where I mud wallowed a few weeks ago. That blue is amazing, eh? So I'm just giving you an update. JP and everybody at Pridelands is fine and safe. They just turned off the camera as a safety measure. All is good in the hood. There's not a bad spot for this kingfisher to be hanging out, because around the edge of this little watering hole there might be some frogs, and obviously being summertime there are a lot of insects around. Sometimes they even catch small birds. It wasn't a woodlands kingfisher, but we once saw a brown-hooded kingfisher. It had caught a Cape white-eye, which is another type of bird, which was incredible. I don't know if you've seen how when kingfishers, if they catch a big insect or the ones that eat fish, how they hit it against a branch. And the brown-hooded kingfisher was hitting the Cape white-eye against the branch. It was quite a brutal sighting. No way. I just got a message from my wife saying they're eating pancakes, watching WildEarth. That literally has just made my mouth start salivating. Thanks, Ricky. You're going to head over and see what Chris is up to while we enjoy watching this woodlands kingfisher preening itself.
Right. I want to figure out what's happening here. Is this where Darkmane was 2 nights ago? But also, Shadulu was in this immediate area as well last night. A little bit further north from where we are, and she was heading in this direction. So it might be a good idea to check what this hyena is doing. I'm not sure which animal this is. Even if it's even part of the Djuma clan. I've not tried to take a look. I'm just trying to figure out what it's doing. It's a very big hyena, this, I must say. It's like a machine. And Cara was right here. This is where we had him. I won't be surprised. Not Cara, man. Shadulu. She was right here on the power lines. I think Darkmane was here as well 2 nights ago. Shadulu was a bit further north. It's right on the boundary, so it's probably going to cross over. Let's see if we can intercept it before it crosses. Really big guy, you know that, yeah. So it's probably a very big female. Hi, good morning, France. Yes. Fantastic observation from you. And it's a lot's been said about, it depends on your perspective. I say that hindquarters are underdeveloped, or is it the front quarters that are overdeveloped? Most likely explanation there is that the front quarters are overdeveloped, hence the longer legs, bigger chest, muscular neck, and that's to enable them to carry large pieces of bone and meat and so forth back to their den sites. We often see them, and then also for that bite force they need areas for muscle attachment as well. Alright, that's gone into the west, so I will not be able to follow it any further. So let's continue back towards the area where we had Shedulu yesterday and just observe and see if there's not perhaps anything that's happened there.
The lionesses, we had Darkman, of course, doing his best to protect them and to catch a buffalo for them for dinner. But unfortunately, as soon as the buffalo came along, he hot-tailed in the opposite direction. No, we're having a fabulous time, and it's really been magnificent so far. Thank you.
Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Welcome back. We're still at Twin Dams with this woodland kingfisher has been very chilled. The time we've been sitting here, what we were hoping for was either to hear that hyena again or to have it come walking past us. But we've had nothing, so it's time to continue. I think let's go towards Treehouse Dam. That'll be the plan. Oh, I was just having a leg stretch next to the car. Got to give the legs a bit of a break again. While we move around towards Treehouse Dam, Chris is busy bumbling. Go see what he's bumbling around doing.
Oh, bottom. Well, it's nice to have that hyena earlier. big hyena, that, eh? So now I'm just trying to see if there's any tracks of Shadulu where we had her last night. She looked like she was hunting, so right, good morning, Travolta. Alrighty, families. Travolta wants to know which family does hyenas belong to, dogs or cats? Okay, Travolta, the answer is neither one of the two. Hyenas are in their own family of predators called the Hyenidae. So they are in their own distinct family. However, the order Carnivora, which is now all the mammal carnivores, divided into different families. Hyenas, Hyenidae, cats, the Felidae, dogs, Canidae, the mongooses, which is the Viveridae and the subfamily Herpestidae, the badgers and polecats and those things, otters, they placed in their own family, seals in their own family, bears in their own family. All right. Those families are grouped into supergroups or superfamilies, and hyenas are placed with cats in the superfamily Phelionidae. So as a family, their closest family relationship is with cats. So they are closer related to cats than they are to dogs. But they are in their own distinct family, the Hyenidae, and there's 4 species, 4 extant species, which means living species currently. Spotted hyena, brown hyena, striped hyena further up in East Africa, heading into parts of Asia, and then the aardwolf. Those are the 4 hyenas found. Nothing here on that leopard. There's no tracks whatsoever coming out here, or that I could have seen. Right, let's go back to JP, who seems to be safe and sound.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. Yes, we are all safe and sound, and what we had to do is we had to very quickly get action before it actually became dangerous. So our backup just alerted us very rapidly that there was something that was approaching us. I wasn't sure what it was, and the next moment we noticed that there's a large group of elephants. Those elephant bulls very rapidly started fighting with one another, and it's very likely that they are fighting for dominance, and those fights were getting serious. They do start fleeing away from one another, and they can be on top of you within a split of a second. And that was our decision to then cut the camera and to get out there as quickly as possible. So when it comes to bushwalks, it's very important to stress that you have to be qualified to be able to conduct walks, and that you have to undergo the training to actually be able to do that. It's also one of the things that you need to learn is to very rapidly learn how to make decisions in terms of safety as well as route, and to get yourself out of those situations as quickly as possible. It's also, once again, very important when you are conducting walks that you actually work with a backup. And the backup in the lead rifle, in this case, will be me, the lead, and then the backup that is there to support me. While we are doing the backup's role is to actually look around and to make sure that there is no potential threats approaching us, especially when Morgan and myself is down on the ground looking at tracks as well as interesting little things. We don't really have the ability to see what's going on around us, and situations can change within a split of a second. So very well done on our backup for this morning for spotting that elephant so quickly. This is also for if you are interested in becoming a trails guide. We'll tell you a little bit more about how to do that a little bit later. But first, Chris is up to...
Right, now it seems like Shadulu gave us the slip as well. I can't even see tracks of her at all there. Unless she's gone into this block that way towards quarantine. Maybe try and sneak some. We'll check quarantine right now. Or perhaps Rebecca's and see if she's not emerged somewhere there. And just have a track in a direction, it would be good. And we know that's an area we can try and target perhaps this afternoon. She used to hang out a lot in this. Hi there, Travolta. Thank you very much. Now, all our guides, we do study these things. I just have a very particular interest in taxonomy and how species relate to each other. It's just a field of study that I personally taken a very deep interest into. But thank you. Glad I could answer that for you. I mean, I could have gone into even more detail there, but it would involve using another 100 scientific terms, and that's not always a good thing. I've seen a lot of guides in my career, and myself included, who tend to use a lot of scientific terms and jargon, and you have to use it in the right way in order to build a story or to have an effect, because you can just throw out a few names and it'll make you look clever, but use it as a tool. And some advice to any aspirant guides out there. You will have to study these names and terms and so forth. That's part of the studies, but the key there is how to use it to create an experience for guests. Like there, using it to explain the relationship. And even some of these scientific names have a meaning behind it that's quite interesting. You might actually use that as a bit of a theme for one of the drives. Maybe like a nice Sunday afternoon bumble, and we'll just do strip where these names come from. Get a bit of an idea. Watch this space. I'm going to check this Terminalia thicket, this cluster leaf thicket, see if there's any tracks coming out. Let's see.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
The little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky.
too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
I love being a cam up for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Okay, so we still haven't made our way to Treehouse Dam yet. We're on our way there now. We just dropped down into the Umlawati to go see if the little spotted eagle owl chick was there, but we didn't see anything. Couldn't see it in that little nest on the ground. Then maybe he's hopping around, exploring his surroundings. I'll tell you what though, my mind is not strayed too far from the sound of pancakes since I heard that. Ricky Bobby making us all hungry. I hope everybody else has rushed off and gone and whipped up some pancakes, people who are watching at home. Should become we actually normally do it on Sundays, Sunday Pancake Day. Okay, come on, Treehouse Dam, produce the goods. Hello, Impala. I wonder, what do we reckon? Complimentary Egyptian goose? Maybe a blacksmith lapwing? All shall be revealed shortly. Also been looking the whole morning. There's a type of sage called coconut sage that I want to get for Davy to smell. Davina, hello. I would have to check on the map to tell you sort of a direct line. But so I drive when I come here from, I live in Hoedspruit, which is very close to Pridelands, and I think it's just under 100 kilometers. I think it's 90 kilometers or something, but that's obviously winding on the roads. So I'll have to just do a little map check to get the exact distance, but it's not far at all. In a straight line it's probably I don't know, I wanted to say like maybe 80 kilometers or so if you had to go straight. I'll see, maybe I can measure it on Google Earth while we stay. Oh yes, what is that? Did you see that? I thought I saw something in the water. Oh no! No! To be on our screen. But there are Egyptian geese and a hippo Let me go across to the middle of the dam so we can have a look at this hippo's back. There you go, its head's out now. Hello, hippopotamus. So I'll have to have a look. I'll check on Google Earth and do like a measurement and see how far it is in a straight line.
If I could take you on safari all day and all night, I would. But unfortunately, it's not always the best time to see the animals. Now, in between safaris, you can watch the WildEarth Channel with loads of extra shows. If you have a connected television, Apple TV or Roku box, then download the WildEarth app, and if not, then just find it on the App Store on your phone.
Wildlife trafficking remains a growing problem in South Africa, and often made worse by the way the media portray this complex issue. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, have recently embarked on a program whereby they train reporters to better tell stories of wildlife trafficking.
In my community, wildlife conservation is mostly something other people do, and I would like to change that. My name is Iman Singli. I told people I met that the pangolin is one of the most trafficked animals on the planet. But what is a pangolin, they said? Why is it in danger? This is what made me decide that the pangolin story must be told. If we are to play a part in preventing the extinction of this animal, then we must all be part of the battle.
A partnership between WWF South Africa and WESA, supported by US Aid.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. At the moment, we're still watching our hippo, and automatically every few get up to take a breathe while he's actually fast asleep. We've also noticed that there's a number of oxpeckers that landed on him. They simply wanted to quickly get a drink, as well as come and see if there's any form of parasites in him that they could quickly pick off. Quite often we also find that hippos have got scars on them that's been created by fighting with other bulls. And these wounds often have infestations in it. And what they're from both parasites from flies that's laying their eggs inside there, and what we'll see is that the Oxpeckers will then dig out those little maggots from that open wound. You'll also find that they will feed on blood, as well as sometimes you'll see them going into the ears of animals where they go for earwax as well. We've also had a few questions that has come through, and our first question has come from Rolo. Good morning, Rolo, and welcome to the show. And Rolo would like to know, is there any birds of prey out here which kills in a very unusual way? If I can think of it, it's quite a tricky answer, but let's think of maybe a peregrine falcon, which is one of the fastest flying bird species on the planet. They literally knock their prey out of the sky at a speed of 380 kilometers an hour when they descend on a dove, and then they will catch it as well before it hits the ground. There's a few other things I can think of. Some of the species, like hobbies, will often feed on dragonflies, and they'll catch them in their feet and bring it up to their bill, clip the wings in the same process, and then feed on that on the wing. Another bird of prey that has a strange way of hunting is actually that of the bathawk. You'll see that its activity period coincides with the last few minutes before with this darkness, as well as just after that it starts becoming light in the morning, when bats actually start returning. And to actually watch them on the wing, it's pretty impressive, and they feed on the wing as well. And another unique behavior when it comes to birds of prey, which we often find with both African hawk eagles as well as with Vero's eagles, is where the one bird will actually deliberately distract the ground bird or a rock hyrax, which they might try and hunt distance, and the other one will use the sun from behind, swoop in and execute the kill. There's also a few other strange behaviors when it comes to birds of prey, when it comes to killing. And one of those are from a southern fiscal, which is often responsible for pulling the heads off of their prey and then impaling it onto a thorn tree, allowing flies to lay their eggs inside there, creating a little food larder. Well, we are going to hang around the dam for a little bit longer. Let's go and see what Chris is up to.
So I've gone back just to check the edges of quarantine here, just in terms of direction of that leopardess from last night, and I'm just going to stop and just appreciate the sounds for a bit just now. Love these trees. It's just some very big cluster leaves, and there's a big apple leaf. Let me stop here. This is such a lovely scene all around us. Such a nice scene. And I've mentioned this a few times that I do love trees, eh? Nothing from that leopardess, but we'll keep scratching this afternoon. Hi there, Chris. Like your name. He says he wants the classes cuckoo. His bird list is stuck on, they say 399. We're going to find you one this afternoon. We are going to find you one. 359, Chris. There we go. It's a nice count. Not bad at all. Well, we got the woodlands going there. I've got that one on my list about 100 times already. Area where you would just go and pitch up your tent and camp out here. There's nice short grass. That will be amazing, eh? How about that? love camping. I'm definitely overdue for a nice little bush camp trip. Right underneath this apple leaf, I'll pitch my tent right there. The only thing is, this is exactly where the lions were last night, so if you do want to camp out here, you need to be very, very careful. Anyway, stop daydreaming and back to reality. Come to the end of another exciting morning, and weather's looking good for the afternoon, so hopefully we'll be able to build on what we've done this morning. The weather holds, we'll definitely be in for some good conditions, and I for one really think we're going to have an absolute cracker this afternoon. So join us again this afternoon. I'm inviting you right here, right now. Join us again. Live safari out here at Djuma. Until then, goodbye.